Now on Denver 7 News, a drive-by shooting ends with a young boy dead and another in the hospital.
It's heartbreaking, man. I mean, to see somebody so young go so early.
Their family is now speaking out as they cope with the sudden tragedy.
Just ask for continued prayers because it's going to be a long process.
And rain and hail pounding down across Colorado.
Scattered thunderstorms again today and this evening. Some locally heavy rainfall with some of the storms over an inch at DIA. Our forecast looks hotter and drier. I'll have your full 7-day outlook.
Plus, a popular donut shop destroyed after an RV crashes into it.
I couldn't breathe. It just stopped for a minute. It was unbelievable.
Even after losing everything, the owner is hoping to rebuild and get back to doing what he loves.
It's good for my customer, good for me, good for everybody.
In Superior Rising, a special kind of reunion after the Marshall Fire. How Denver 7 Gives viewers are helping neighbors reconnect with neighbors.
Tonight, a community in Longmont pays its respects to a 13-year-old boy killed in what police say was a drive-by shooting at a park. Thanks so much for joining us tonight for Denver 7 News at 10. I'm Jacqueline Allen.
I'm Brian Wang. Another teen was also hurt in this shooting and is now back home from the hospital. This all happened yesterday while the teens were just playing basketball.
Denver 7's Patrick Perez has the latest on the man police have since arrested and the family's plea for justice.
That vigil officially wrapped up a few hours ago, but some people have stayed behind to light up some candles. In 13-year-old Zay's name, we saw more than 100 people here paying their respects, a lot of them wearing red, his favorite color, and they are not yet ready to say goodbye. Grief, anger, and sadness Sunday evening at Kensington Park in Longmont.
It feels surreal.
A crowd of more than 100 people stopping by to pay their respects to 13-year-old Zay Rosales. He was one of 2 teens shot here just a day prior.
He was loved by many. He always had a smile on his face.
Zay's cousin and grandmother, Mary Alvarez and Beverly Anaya, are still trying to make sense of what happened.
42 years ago, almost to the day, we lost our cousin to a shooting here in Longmont, her brother. So it's like history repeating itself.
Zay and his cousin, 15-year-old Elias De Herrera, were playing basketball Saturday afternoon when police say a driver shot at them. Zay died at the hospital shortly after. Elias was shot in the leg and was released from the hospital. He made an appearance at Zay's vigil.
They all saw this. They have to live with this for the rest of their lives. Like I said, nobody won here.
Many of the balloons and candles were held by teens themselves who, at their young age, now have to process the loss of their friend.
It's unfathomable. Youth should be able to feel safe and be safe and to have places they can hang out and not have to look over their shoulder when they're relaxing.
The 19-year-old driver accused of shooting at the teens, Yahir Solis, is now in custody, charged with murder and attempted murder. The family takes comfort in knowing he's off the streets.
He needs to pay for what he's done. He's taken a 13-year-old child that was playing on a basketball court's life. That's unfair.
If you'd like to help Zay's family pay for the funeral expenses, they do have a GoFundMe, and we have a link to that on the denverchannel.com. In Longmont, I'm Patrick Perez, Denver 7.
All right, take a look at this. Several storms making their way across the state, bringing with them scattered showers and hail. This is out near Greeley, and it was just pouring down out there.
And one storm hovering over DIA for several hours dumped more than an inch of rain at the airport, which is the most precipitation there we've seen in more than a year and a half.
A lot there, as you can imagine. This impacted flights going in and out of DIA. At last check, there were more than 700 delays and more than 50 cancellations.
Chief Meteorologist Mike Nelson tracking the storms all day as Denver kids get ready to go back to school tomorrow. Mike?
The storms are dying down now. They were briefly very heavy, a lot of rain, some small hail out on the eastern side of the metro area and at DIA, but they've, in the last hour or so, really just completely fallen apart. And across the state, we've had heavy storms earlier, but there's not much going on right now. The thunderstorm activity with its association with the monsoon flow of moisture coming up from the south has diminished. Now, the high temperatures this afternoon were in the mid-80s, which is a few degrees below average this time of year in mid to late August. And right now, it's a very comfortable evening, 65 degrees in Denver, 70 in Fort Collins. Looking ahead tomorrow, the storms end Fewer storms tomorrow, warmer temperatures for the next few days. We'll get back to the 90s. I'll let you know which days will return to a chance of showers and thunderstorms coming up in about 15 minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. And the storms today here do not compare to the severe weather we've been seeing in the Southwest.
They certainly don't compare. The monsoon rains battering portions of New Mexico and Utah. Dramatic images showing floodwaters pouring into the state's Carlsbad Caverns National Park, leaving 150 people stranded inside. You can see the flash floods overtaking main roads nearby, prompting a shelter-in-place order.
Nobody knew what time we could leave. We thought maybe a couple of hours. We didn't realize we could be there all night.
Forecasters say the storm is now moving east, targeting places like Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma.
It's been almost a week since this RV crashed into a popular donut shop in Lakewood. Several people were hurt, but they're recovering. The building, though, is beyond repair. Denver 7's Christian Lopez spoke to the owner, determined to pick up the pieces.
What started out as a normal Monday at Winchell's Donut House in Lakewood quickly took a turn for the worse when this RV went crashing through the building.
I couldn't breathe. It just stopped for a minute. And I don't remember. It was unbelievable.
Owner Hassan Batika says there were only a few people inside at the time.
And usually at that time I get busy. It would be 3-4 people here on the line. People putting cream and sugar right there. I'm glad there was nobody, only one customer. And I hope he's okay.
A 70-year-old man who Batika says is a frequent customer was thrown across the lobby. And it's hard not to think about how things could have ended much worse.
It's right in my neck size. I always stand right here, always, like this. Wait for customer or just talk to customer. It will give me a bed. I'm glad everybody's okay.
Batika must now say goodbye to the location he's known for the last 23 years.
Nearly a week since the RV crashed into the building, you can see that the walls have been all boarded up and there is still a lot of rubble here on the ground. There is shattered glass, pieces of wood, the W from the Winchell sign, as well as that pan right there that fell out of that RV. And the inspectors actually found that the building was so unsafe, it has to be demolished.
He's looking into other potential locations right now.
I seen a good location closer to here, 0.2 miles. It's good for my customer, good for me, good for everybody. That's what I need. I need to relocate this as fast as I can.
But he doesn't know how long that'll take. He's also facing financial obstacles. Everything is a lot more expensive than it used to be. He's hoping for some support along the way so he can be back with his customers, who have become more like his family, as soon as he can.
I get really upset just thinking about what I'm gonna do every day.
In Lakewood, Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
What a tough situation to be in. Christian, thank you so much. All right, neighbors reuniting with neighbors tonight as they celebrate a milestone in the Marshall Fire recovery process. Thanks to the generosity of Denver 7 viewers, $25,000 went to the group Superior Rising to help the original Town and Coal Creek Crossing neighborhoods with debris cleanup. Now that they're almost done, they held an event today so the community could catch up and feel the neighborhood camaraderie once again.
Being able to come together, have just kind of a fun time, fun environment, and a chance to be a neighborhood, be a community again. I think it's just a really important part of the recovery.
Heckman also says they'll hold a similar event for the Rock Creek neighborhood and in downtown Superior. Coming up, more teens are hitting the road and they have some stricter rules to follow when they're behind the wheel.
It's a nerve-wracking thing when you have to let your child go into a car.
What parents and new drivers need to know before hitting the road.
Younger Americans feeling the stress of inflation and putting their plans for the future on pause.
So many of us have lost so much. So sad just to realize how drained we are.
Why more people are deciding to spend their savings now.
Getting inked for a cause, how one Colorado shop is bringing awareness using art.